begin spread this infection to him people. Driver go mechanic workshop, go spread am. Cook go open market to go buy 1 or 2 things. She go spread am too. Even house cleaner go back her house, go spread the same infection. Now so this coronavirus begin take style dey spread from family to we country people.
So therefore, make we join hands obey all the instructions wey government and our medical people don give us. Wash your hands with water and soap regularly, or use hand sanitizer. No go join body for where people gather plenty. Maintain social distancing. Above all, stay una house as government don advise. Stop unnecessary waka about. So make we not spread this virus.
Coronavirus. No be only big man like me dey catch o. If it catch anybody, even poor man himself fit get am. So, make we join hand together. Take stop with this deadly disease where they kill our people and they never get a cure.
Together, we go overcome if we do all the things wey dem tell us to do.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTAi Network News, Instagram at NTAi Network, Twitter at NTAi News Now, YouTube at NTAi News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTAi mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTAi, you can beat the rich.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTAi International is with you. In your living room, office, and everywhere, anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview channel 264, or live streaming via www.visiontv.co.uk. Application for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTAi International, Africa's window to the world.
Following the recommendation of the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO, at least 15 to 20% of the nation's budget should be allocated to the education sector, which positively impacts national development in many ways than one. A term that cannot be discarded as long as good education is concerned, goes a long way in determining the output of students in this regard. Quality though, seeing that Nigeria has two forms which schooling is categorized, that is private and public schools. Private schools have seemingly gained popularity and acceptance from many Nigerians, as it is mostly known for its high quality of output as well as educational facilities, and are always therefore seen as the better option for gaining quality education amongst many Nigerians. Public schools, on the contrary, are believed to be characterized by lack of conducive learning environment in terms of incessant strikes, lack of adequate teaching amenities, class size, overpopulation and more, which makes it challenging to reach out to all students and meet their individual learning needs. Tonight on Weekend File, we will take a look at the state and safety of public schools in Nigeria. My guests are Ibrahim Duba, an education consultant, and Kabir Adamu, a security, risk management and intelligence specialist. Welcome to the program. I'm Joseph Johnson. Let's start, as usual, with the news segment. Now, let's start by telling you that the long-awaited and highly significant public vaccination of President Muhammadu Buhari and Vice President Yemi Osinbajo against COVID-19 has been held at the presidential villa in demonstration of leadership and faith in the exercise. President Buhari and Vice President Osinbajo took their first jabs of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, which arrived the country last Tuesday. State House correspondent Adam Sambo has the report.
Using a penless narrow-gauge syringe, Chief Personal Physician to President Muhammadu Buhari, Dr. Suhaib Sanusi Rafindadi, administered the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine on the Nigerian leader. This could best be described as a symbolic confirmation of the safety and efficacy of the vaccine, as well as a demonstration of faith in the vaccination exercise. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo was also vaccinated by his personal physician, Dr. Nicholas Auduferen. Both leaders were presented their e-vaccination cards by the Executive Director, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, Dr. Faisal Shuaib.
Your Excellency, this vaccine is safe. The after effects, as we know so far, are mild. But on the whole, there is no untoward adverse effect that's associated with this vaccine, and it has been certified safe and usable by NAFDAC.
President Muhammadu Buhari described COVID-19, which resulted in over 2.5 million fatalities and destroying several national and global systems, as an unseen but very potent enemy around the world. The speedy development of the vaccine, he said, is not only significant but underscores the collective resolve of humanity to overcome the pandemic. Having been vaccinated as a demonstration of leadership, the president made a strong case for Nigerians to do same so as to be protected from the deadly virus.
The vaccine offers hope for a safe country free of coronavirus. I urge all state governments, traditional and religious leaders to take the lead in the mobilization effort within their environment and spheres of influence. I similarly urge all eligible Nigerians to present themselves and be vaccinated in accordance with the order of priority already mapped out at the various authorized designated centers only.
While congratulating the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 on the successful multi-sectoral approach to the management of the pandemic, the President acknowledged the support of development partners and other critical stakeholders for supporting Nigeria thus far, promising that the resources provided will be equitably administered.
The response in Nigeria and ECOWAS sub-region has been robust, collaborative, and united. It was driven by a collective knowledge of the fact that no country is safe until every country is safe.
PTF Chairman and Secretary to Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, attributed the event, which he described as memorable and remarkable, to the leadership qualities provided by President Muhammadu Buhari in the national response to COVID-19.
I think vaccine hesitancy would have to give way now to the reality. Our most strategic leadership have received them this morning. They are safe, they are efficacious, and it is for the good and well-being of our people.
Nigeria, which took delivery of 3.92 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine on Tuesday and expects to receive 84 million doses before the year runs out, is aiming to vaccinate 40% of its population this year and a further 30% in 2022. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTAi News.
Well, with this development, I bet you can wait to be vaccinated. Now, after an attack by bandits on Tara Village, Sokoto State, the people are in dire need of assistance. Sheikh Mohammed Dati visited the area and now reports.
Akalla ma dai dubu wanda aka amfani da su cikin gidaje kuma hanyar su ga hanyar suke biyo nan ko shi suke biyo
su kuma ubangiji Allah ya bayyana su duk inda sun ka shiga ka taimaka ma iyali da mu ya matan su.
Yahya Dogo is an eyewitness to the attack, and Fatima Jume is a wife to one of the killed victims. The bandits stormed the villages of Tara, Garizago, Garihillo and Nasarawa in the early hours of Friday, killing people and taking away their animals. A member representing the area, the Sokoto State House of Assembly, Saidu Neno Ibrahim, and the community leader Rabi Utara and other people of the area lamented the incident, appealing to government at all levels to quickly intensify security efforts to rescue the people from the bandits' attack.
I call the federal government and state government to take action for our people, because our people, they are suffering.
To provide mobilities and the equipment, because even if there is equipment, if there is no mobility, they cannot make anything.
It could be recalled that early this week, bandits made similar attack at the neighboring villages of Gatawa and Sokoto. Sheikh Mohammed Dati, NTAi News.
Borno State Governor Babagana Umar Zulum has called on residents of Dikwa Town, Borno State, to be resilient as government will not cede any parts of the state to any groups. The governor said this during a visit to the community in the wake of terror attack. Mohammed Goni reports.
It was barely a week after the Boko Haram insurgents attempted an infiltration on Dikwa Town and were repelled by the security forces. Eyewitness who pleaded anonymity said the insurgents came last Monday night in 5 gun trucks mounted with anti-aircraft guns. Places razed down by the insurgents include headquarters of Supercam 9 as well as that of 81 Task Force Battalion of the Nigerian Army. Other areas destroyed were part of Shehu of Dikwa's Palace, the UN Hub, primary healthcare center provided by the Shell Petroleum, as well as Shohuri Morikasa IDP camp, where 3 persons were said to have lost their lives. Governor Zulum sympathized with the residents as well as condoled the bereaved families, assuring that government is committed to protecting lives and property.
The officers and men of the 81 Brigade are very strong, very resilient. They refuse to run away. But unfortunately, a sizable number of other men and officers that are deployed here to supplement their efforts have run away. Many comments are also burned down. So I think we have to be very careful in order to re-strategize the ongoing operation.
He urged the residents to be resilient and courageous, reminding them of the challenges associated with fleeing from their community. The governor said no community in Borno, including the state capital, can accommodate the over 500,000 residents of Dikwa. He also re-echoed call to the Boko Haram insurgents to sheath their sword and give peace a chance to allow people return to their normal lives. Some residents of the affected IDP camp narrated their ordeal and efforts made to quench the inferno following the attacks on the Dikwa community. From Dikwa headquarters of Dikwa local government, Mahmoud Goni, NTAi News.
To talking security matters, a newly constructed jetty and shoreline protection facilities at the Navy Underwater Warfare School of Joe Lagos State have been inaugurated. Chief of the Naval Staff Owal Zubairu Gambo, who performed the inauguration, says infrastructure is critical in addressing emerging security threats. Diana Jali reports.
It might look like a mere jetty with little or no importance to maritime security, But the history behind this jetty spanned back to 1980, when the only structure occupying this place was an outdated and dilapidated one. Today, the story has not only changed, but a shoreline protection has been added to check periodic flooding and ecological challenges threatening the peaceful mindset of naval officers in curtailing maritime crimes.
The efficient and effective projection of sea power by maritime forces is dependent on the physical configuration of the harbors and jetties, which constitute a critical interface connecting the sea with land.
Inaugurated by the Minister of State for Health, the 400 diameter piles jetty with about 100-meter shoreline protection was executed through the Ecological Fund Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
It is also gratifying to know that the approval of this project has a dual mandate of enhancing the professional competencies of the officers and men of the services, and by extension, stimulating the aggressive drive of securing the country against any criminal acts.
It is our conviction that this project intervention will provide succor to lives and properties.
The satisfaction of key players here is that its provision will speed up the process of acquiring knowledge in the area of underwater warfare. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTAi News.
Well, let's turn to a bit of legislative matters. Now, the Senate Committee on Aviation says it will make a case for adequate funds to the aviation sector in the budget to aid early completion of Wasimi International Airport, Ogun State. This was during the committee's oversight function to the state. Lekon Agbonde reports.
While at the construction site of Wasimi International Airport, which is at the runway stage for oversight function, expressed satisfaction with the level of work done. He said the inspection was part of the committee's oversight function to find out the extent of utilization of funds allotted to the project in the budget.
As to ensure that when projects are started, they are completed. So our coming here is to see, and maybe before the next 3-4 months, we are expecting that there could be a need to review the budget. We are equally aware that there's another one that I think the state government is working on, which we visited.
A member of the committee, Senator Ibikula Amosun, says the federal government is committed to the completion of the project in the overall interest of the people.
We see runways already established. This is not just a game, but a result of hard work and support that we are getting from the federal government.
Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun had earlier taken the committee round the site of the agro-cargo airport project at Ileshan Remo in Ogun East Senatorial District.
A lot of very high work has been done on this cargo airport, and we are very excited about the opportunities that this Metropolis presents.
The committee re-emphasized the federal government's commitment to completing all the ongoing projects in the aviation sector in boosting the economy. In Abeokuta, Lekon Agbonde, NT News.
Rivers State government has flagged off the construction of the 8th flyover bridge at Waterlines Junction, Port Harcourt. Ogedinyekwe reports that the former governor of Rivers State, Sir Celestine Omaihe, performed the groundbreaking.
The Waterlines flyover, named Orochiri-Woruko Flyover Bridge, is one of the latest contracts signed by the Rivers State government with Julius Berger Nigerian PLC. The construction of the Orochiri-Woruko Flyover Bridge became necessary as a result of the traffic gridlock experienced at Waterlines Junction following the construction of the Rebisi and GRA flyover bridges. Governor Wike says his administration would continue to provide more infrastructural projects for the people.
I enjoin all of you to continue to support us. We will not leave any project abandoned. No, we will finish all our projects we have started, so that anybody coming to take over from us will also start his own projects.
Former Governor of Rivers State, Sir Celestine Omaihe, says the governor has exhibited competence in leadership.
He is fulfilling his promises for the people of Rivers State.
Upon completion, the flyover bridge will be 802 meters long, dual carriageway with projection to accommodate vehicular increase in future. In Port Harcourt, Ogedinye Query, NTAi News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated former President Olusegun Obasanjo on the occasion of his 84th birthday. President Buhari recalls the dedication and loyalty of former President Obasanjo's service to the nation and said the nation will continue to look up to the former president for wisdom and statesmanship. President Buhari praised God to sustain the celebrant with greater wisdom and strength to continue his good works for the country. You're watching Weekend File on the network service of the NTAi. Time for some messages, and when we return, we will turn our attention to the subject matter on the program, which is analyzing the state and safety of public schools in Nigeria. Kindly join us again.
John, you can use our toilet now.
Ew! My mommy said I should always use a toilet that is cleaned with Hypo toilet cleaner. James will bite my bum bum.
John, what's the problem? Use Hypo Toilet Cleaner. Introducing the new and affordable Hypo Toilet Cleaner. Kills germs and deodorizes your toilet.
The second wave of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is upon us.
To safeguard lives of our people, government has signed the health protection regulations, which makes wearing a face mask mandatory in public places.
Wear a mask. Keep social and physical distancing. Avoid crowded places. Wash your hands regularly with soap and clean water. And use hand sanitizer.
COVID-19 is real. Do not be infected. Do not spread it. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTAi.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation.
You're watching Weekend File with me, Joseph Johnson. Jangebe, new name in the abduction map and fresh in our thinking faculty. So, taking off from here on a discussion like this is not out of place. The abduction and subsequent release of 279 students of Government Girls Science Secondary School, Jangebe, is now our yesterday. But how tomorrow holds is the worry for many. Jamilu Ibrahim reports on efforts to end the practice.
The recent abduction and subsequent release of the 279 students of Government Girls Science Secondary School Jangebe in Talata Mafara local government area of Zamfara State has raised serious concern amongst stakeholders, especially parents, on safety of their children in schools across the state. The unfortunate incident led to the immediate closure of all the boarding schools in the state with a view to dousing tension and to ostensibly give room for the security reinforcement in the schools. The concern about the safety of the students is further aggravated by the current dilapidated structures in some of the schools, especially in rural areas, where most of them are not fenced and have very few and unarmed security guards.
The government should take more serious measures in seeing that this situation is stopped.
I think we may need to have assurance of to see that there is provision to protect facility.
The respondents identified proper fencing of schools, provision of enough security guards and lightning system, as well as effective patrolling as some of the measures that should be put in place to enhance security in schools. The Emir of Gusau, Alhaji Ibrahim Bello, however, says securing the schools is a collective responsibility.
What happened at Jangebe was a test to all of us. I therefore call on our team populace to unite together and expose any dubious character.
Zamfara State Commissioner for Education Ibrahim Abdullahi says efforts are being intensified to fortify all schools across the state and to promote security consciousness amongst students and staff.
The state government received proposal on how to educate our school administrators and the students as well to identify security by their uniforms, security by their activity, so they'll be able to identify between the correct ones and the fake security apparatus.
As all the boarding schools in Zamfara State remain closed, it is now the expectation of all the stakeholders, especially parents and students, that adequate measures will be taken to scale up security in the schools before they are reopened. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTAi News.
The Kagara and Jangebe abductions are memories other states should not share, but not sharing such memories come with proactive measures. So, what are the measures put in place in Enugu State?
The reckless abductions of school children by some criminal elements have so far been sabotaging government's efforts in delivering safe and conducive teaching and learning environment. Installation of modern infrastructures such as perimeter fence, construction of security posts and teachers resident within schools, restriction of wanton movement of students during and after school hours. Stakeholders say would forestall the spate of insecurity affecting delivery of quality of education in the country.
Those children that are in the school need to be advised. There's sometimes when you put up the security and restriction, especially in the secondary school, they will be the one to make it porous, jumping fence, breaking wall, and all those things.
As a traditional ruler, my duty is to partner with any agency or government or private individual who is involved as a school proprietors to be able to secure the school in my neighborhood.
In the recent past, they talk about courtism, in the tertiary institutions. But nowadays, it has slipped from that particular axis down to secondary, even in the primary.
Increased sensitization on dangers of playing down on friendly academic environments, they say, would improve the morale of leaders of tomorrow. In Enugu, Eva Aneke, NTAi News.
The abduction of students in Chibok in 2014 reawakens the consciousness of many to protect their schools, and thankfully, the Safe Schools initiative was announced 6 years after. Commentaries about the safety of schools are so scaring. Ingino John Adams examines the effectiveness of the initiative in Lagos.
Space has been dominated recently by various opinions on the rising cases of abduction of students. Lagos was also hit when 4 students as well as 2 members of staff were kidnapped from the Lagos State Model College, Igbonla Ekpe, in October 2016, and another abduction of 6 students and 2 principals from the same school in May 2017. These developments have raised concerns about what is happening to the Safe Schools initiative.
Lagos have been on the watch all around our boarding schools. They have CCTV there that have been assisting to watch the movement within and around the compound of the school.
Safety is a core value for us, and it's come at the top in every decision making we do in the school.
Some students are also lending their voices to the issue of abductions.
I know the government is working hard to tackle abduction in schools, but I am appealing to them to do more to ensure our safety.
It is a gross violation of children's rights and a horrific experience for children to go through something which could have a long-lasting effect on their mental health and well-being.
All interested persons and organizations have appealed to government to ensure full implementation of the Safe Schools initiative to fortify security and allow students and teachers operate in safer environments. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTAi News.
All right, to further this discussion now, I have with me in the studio Ibrahim Duba, an educationist, education consultant, I should say, and we also have Kabiru Adamu, a security risk management and intelligence specialist. Gentlemen, you're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you for having us.
All right, so let's begin with you. Let's look at this education sector. How would you appraise the Nigerian education sector in general?
Okay, let me take a step back and sketch a little background about paint a picture about the variables that depend on education.
Okay, please.
In 1965, we have about 120 countries with infant mortality rates above 5%. Today, we have only 13 countries. Nigeria is one of those countries. We are number 8 with infant mortality rate of 69.8 out of 1,000 live births. Do you know what reduces infant mortality? It's education. That is one. If they prevent us from educating our children, it means even that metric is going to get worse. Then the second important thing that we need to know is that education is correlated with wealth, with income. The more of education you have, the higher your income globally. Now, if our children do not go to school, we'll continue to be in the bottom economy. We'll continue to be a developing country. So this is very, very important. Our children must go to school. If they don't go to school, it has effects that will affect every sector. And in Nigeria now, it appears that our future mothers are even more affected, because if they go to boys' school, they abduct only few boys, you know. But whenever they say girls' school, Chibok 100 something, the previous ones 300, like that. In Kagara, because they were boys, they were fewer than the girls' school. And it's more important to educate the female child than educating the male child, because if you educate the female child, you are educating the entire family. In Nigeria now, as we are, I think we are in a very, very delicate position. A lot of people have provided different solutions, but I think we are trying to address the symptoms, not the problem. We need to address the problem. For example, some people said we should fence all the schools, you know? But how many are you going to fence? That's a scope. How long will it take you? How quickly are you going to do that? That is time. And the budget. These are the 3 constraints of project management. For example, in Kano alone, we have 6,000 schools at the elementary level. How many of them are you going to fence? How many will you leave? How many police officers do we have in Kano? You understand? Okay. In Niger, the largest state in Nigeria, and I'm from Niger, you can travel within Niger for 6 hours, end to end. So the schools are scattered. Which one are you going to take care of? Is it possible for us to go back to the way we were before, where we did not need to build fences around our schools, and education and instruction were able to go on? If we can ask ourselves that question and we can address that question, I think that will be the solution.
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to get your name again. Ibrahim Kabiru.
Ibrahim Duba.
Ibrahim Duba, I beg your pardon. So, quality education is the right of every child, in line with the UN's global goal for quality education. From what you know, would you say that this is visible or replicated across public schools?
Quality education today? No, we don't have it in public schools. Yeah, we do not. The public schools are there to contain the students so that they don't have the time to go and commit other infractions. You understand? That, I think, is the purpose of our schools today, especially the young adolescents. You know, it keeps them confined to one place so that they don't have free time to go and commit infraction. But little education gets to them.
Okay, just before I move over to Mr. Adamu Kabir. Yeah, so from my readings on the subject matter, I gathered that, you know, children, 1 in 5 out of school children globally are said to be in Nigeria. You know, making about 20% of children not getting any kind of formal education.
Yes.
Quite heartbreaking, isn't it? So just give us a sense of how dire the situation is.
Well, it's very dire. We have 123 students, young people that are uneducated around the world. 54% of them, that is from age 15 to 24, 54 million of them are in 9 countries. Nigeria is one of those 9 countries. We have Pakistan, we have Mali, we have Burkina Faso. So it is very, very dire, like you said. And one thing also research has shown is that the key to end extreme poverty is in the school. And the person that holds that key is the teacher, a good teacher. So if we cannot educate our children with quality instruction, then it is very, very, it signals very difficult times for us. But like I said, if education is correlated with income and we do not have any of the education, even the little we are having before, now the students are afraid of going to school. Some governments have already started closing school, like in Kano. It's like a short-term measure, but it's also concession to the bandits that, look, we cannot protect our people. The government is conceding that, look, we can't protect the children, so we are closing the schools. But now I think it works. It's better for the students to go to school and be kidnapped by the bandits.
Yes, talking about that, let's talk about safety of the children in school. I mean, security matters is very paramount as we speak, because the recent spate of kidnapping of school children in some parts of the country has, you know, sent down fears, you know, as regards their safety. So how does this trend, you know, impact on the security of not just the school children, but the educational system?
As far as the impact of kidnap for ransom on educational institutions in northern states concerned, it forebodes the collapse of the system in the north. At the last count, I think about 4 northern states have shut down boarding schools in security challenged areas. And a few of them are thinking of temporary solutions like collapsing the boarding schools into day schools. But there are, you know, advantages and disadvantages to that. But I think suffice to say, it signifies the near collapse of educational system in those affected states, unfortunately, for the simple reason that, excuse me, on the side of the parents, there is the concern that I'm handing over my kids to the school, and the school is the custodian of those kids. Unfortunately, the custodian has failed to protect the kids. And so the dilemma, the question on the mind of every right-thinking parent is, should I continue handing over the kids to that school? Then the dilemma on the side of the school administrator is, do I take responsibility for people like I cannot protect? And so that transcends up to the governor and to an extent the president. And so we're seeing responses, including the shutting down of those schools, majorly to protect the kids. And now, from a security point of view, especially the risk management, which is my field, what should we have done?
Yes.
You mentioned the Safe Schools initiatives. It was the first thing we embraced in 2024 after the World Economic Forum. And it generated momentum. At the last count, 12 countries contributed money to that fund, about 100 million pounds. And former British Prime Minister Gordon Brown spearheaded that search for funding for that particular initiative. Now that initiative today has been collapsed into, I think, the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. Initially it was by the Presidential Committee on PINE, Presidential Initiative on Northeast, something like that. Then the Northeast Development Commission, and then Then from PINE to the Northeast Development Commission, and now under the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. We're not sure what happened to that funding, but we know that at inception, that initiative was meant to address 3 things, and they were all in the Northeast, in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa, mainly to ensure that there is a continuation of education in those security challenged states. So it would include building model schools, what some people call super schools, that would have additional protection and would allow students to move from those locations. Now today, we've moved from Safe School Initiative. We signed the Safe School Declaration, which was an international multilateral cooperation between several countries. We ratified it in 2019, precisely March 2019, and it's currently a working group that is supposed to assist government in the implementation of that Safe School Declaration. Now, I gave this history just to tell us that it's not that government is not doing anything. It's just that perhaps the wills of government, as we all know, is a bit slow. Now, what are these 2 things supposed to do? Both the Safe School Initiative and the Safe School Declaration. They are meant to provide 3 things. First off, the people inside the school, students, teachers, non-academic staff, contractors, vendors, parents who will visit. Now, they are all supposed to be trained to recognize dangers, both from a security and safety point of view. And then more importantly, the school management is supposed to introduce protocols, as an example, security plans, then security protocols as well as drills for students and teachers themselves, so that where there are indicators of danger, they already know what those indicators are and what to do with those indicators. As an example, there are supposed to be numbers that they can call to highlight those dangers whenever they notice those dangers. Then, of course, the next one is, even after all those protocols have been introduced, what happens if, if there is a security occurrence or a safety occurrence? So, and then, of course, beyond that, the school premises itself, the physical security of the school, that is perimeter fencing, lighting. Now, the interesting thing is this, beyond what some of us think, the sophisticated equipment that we need to install, we looked critically at this area and we discovered that there are local things we can introduce. For instance, where you cannot afford to have bricks as fence, you could go for even plants.
Okay. That's talking about the way forward. So let's just pause for now. Let's pause this discussion in a jiffy. We'll be back to continue the discussions. Stay with us.
Get your Milo FC Barcelona limited edition pack now before the final whistle blows on this promotion.
I bring you wonderful news. The village headmaster is coming back to your screen. Mo wire abi mi o wire. Teacher yo mo, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Teacher yo mo, a fẹ́ lọ wá nǹkan jẹ. Ọmọ onírẹsì ti dé.
Ajebo na better school for last gidi. Not be all this on a rugged yes school for Ijabi. I don't know for you.
Second, it's called Oja Village. Kadesi. We no happy at all.
And I know that even you too, you are getting a lot of orders too. Hey, we are trying, Shao. Sweep her leg out. She was standing there. Sweep it.
I love you so much.
And how did I give you the impression that I was interested in that position?
50-year anniversary.
You mean anniversary?
I mean, it's I talk with that now.
Not for me. Not for me because of Pamio.
The presidency, in response to media inquiries, says there was no side effect on President Buhari after COVID-19 vaccination. The presidency says the president felt normal and went about doing his job after he got his jab, dispelling fears and misconceptions about the safety of the vaccine administered on President Muhammadu Buhari and the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, earlier this morning. There is nothing of a side effect, serious or mild, on the president. The statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, says. 10 years of hearing the sound of guns and educational facilities seen as the prey to the insurgents. Safeguarding the schools in Borno State is given a frontline charge. Building of mega schools to accommodate displaced children and orphans is the target. But are these schools meeting their desired objectives? Let's hear from Pauline Kujevana in Maiduguri.
Education sector in Borno suffered worse devastation of Boko Haram insurgents, and if neglected, the inadequacy could breed another insecurity in the future. It is for this reason that the past and present administrations invested heavily on education by building about 20 mega schools within Maiduguri metropolis and its environs to accommodate the high number of out-of-school children and orphans.
With the structures we have, the number of out-of-school children adequately decreased. The government is doing well in this regard.
Building of the schools with qualified teachers align with government commitment to providing an inclusive, safe, conducive, friendly and positive teaching and learning environment.
We have 20 security men. The 10 will be in the morning and then 10 will be in the night. So security-wise, we don't have a problem.
Basically, the state is up to the task, and in view of the happenings in previous years, I think we are all active and proactive to see that the security of schools are being adequately guaranteed.
Massively, the mega schools are impacting with highly friendly structures to meeting the needs of the pupils and students displaced and orphaned by the insurgency. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTAi News.
While in some states, safeguarding the schools is seen as the sole responsibility of the government, but there is a paradigm shift in Kaduna State as communities are sharing this responsibility with the government. How they do it is what Achari Maxwell has been following up on.
A popular community of Kaduna Metropolitan City with fair share of schools from primary to post-primary levels. Most of them are exposed, except Government Girls Kawo and few others that have been fenced. Investigation reveals that community members are united towards safeguarding the schools and entire populace. Around Ngwarimi axis, where some of these schools are located, the story is the same. Stakeholders say effective synergy between local vigilante and security agencies is one of the ways to ensure safe school initiatives.
You people who are in the community, you know, you watch, you know the location, you know the locality, you know the type of people that are, you know who are those that are there. If you see any strange thing, report to the police. That is the community's contribution to this.
Whenever there's a crack or a crash between the community, immediately we alert the vigilante. Then the vigilante, they come in full together with the policemen.
It is instructive to note that Kaduna State government prioritized upgrading infrastructure in selected schools. With the growing awareness among the people about security being everybody's business, communities are expected to assist in securing schools for effective teaching and learning. In Kaduna, Achari Maxwell, NTA News.
Well, I still have with me in the studio Ibrahim Duba, an education consultant, and Kabir Adamu, a security risk management and intelligence specialist. Gentlemen, still good to have you in the studio. All right, let's follow up on what we were talking about a little earlier. What is the way forward in terms of securing our schools for our young minds?
So I'm very happy with the reports you've provided from different states of the country. I think if we bring all the aspects of the report together, that's the way forward. So like I mentioned earlier on, we look inside the school, train everyone inside the school, and I've mentioned the categories of persons inside the school. Then the school itself, in terms of the physical security within the school, how do you determine you have access control to know who comes into the school and what the person brings in? And that would take a lot. Time will not allow me to go into it, but physical security. And then the last one, like the Kaduna report mentioned, the community where the school is located. How do they identify the indicators of danger, both from a security and safety point of view? And then more importantly, once they identify those dangers, do they have the right relationship with the security agencies to ensure that there is response when they call the security agencies and tell them that, look, we've seen funny looking people who could come and attack the school? So I think that's the model that we can develop using these three things that I've identified.
Yeah, let's just pick up on that. Isn't it the state government that is in charge of secondary school? So talking about security matters, how far are they going, in protecting these schools?
So in virtually everything security, we've seen the state government relaxing and frankly allowing the federal government to take the lead. And perhaps because security is in the exclusive list. So there's a lacuna within our constitution there. While the school itself, running the school is with the state government, but security is in the exclusive list. So governors will have to depend on the federal government for that. But we all know that governors have, security votes. So they can, and they actually use security votes sometimes to purchase vehicles and all that. It's time now for them to look critically at the schools and perhaps start using the security vote for some of these things I've mentioned. It's not, you are not inventing, the rocket science or anything. They are very simple measures that would help improve security in those schools.
Okay, Mr. Duba, earlier on you talked about Safe School Initiative and Declaration. Can you expand on that?
Well, he was the one who spoke about safe schools. Okay. But I understand the point. The most important thing, earlier you asked me about the quality of instruction. The most important thing for us in our education is that whether it is during peacetime or during wartime, we must ensure good education for our students. In fact, if we've had good education before now, some of these problems won't have been won't escalate to this level. So I think we can start deploying technology, and technology in a very simple way. When I say technology, I'm not saying that you should go and spend so much money. My PhD is in information technology. So today we have computers that are as low as $35. You understand? All over the world, and even in private schools in Nigeria, what they do now is to hand tablets to the students. When a child has a tablet with him, he can connect to the school, or the content will have already been on the tablet, so that we don't even need to limit school to a physical setting. Today, around the world, we already have classrooms classes that hold 100,000 students. In Nigeria, I think that's the way forward, because our population is growing and growing.
Yeah, just let me just pick up on that. How what are the measures, that we should be looking at towards dealing with dilapidated structures in schools?
Let me give you an example of Niger State. In 2016, Niger State decided to do a whole school rehabilitation program. So they identified 9 schools. So first they started with the physical structure, then they put the scientific equipment, then they needed to train the teachers before, moving to other schools. But it was very, very capital intensive. Very, very. So since the world is moving towards technology, why don't we leapfrog? You understand? If we say we are going to do everything ABC the way the Western world did before they reached technology, we are not going anywhere. But now they are at this stage where they have this technology. Let us adopt this technology and educate our children. And this tablet I mentioned earlier, it's very, very beneficial because it's better than textbooks. If you have one textbook, the cost will be as much as buying one tablet. And if you have tablets, you can have gamification. The students can learn, they can watch videos, they can play games. They are learning, they don't know they are learning. So they can even get addicted to learning. And like I mentioned earlier, these tablets, if you produce them in numbers, in multiple, you can have them at a very, very low cost because of the technology itself and the economy of scale. So I think that is the way forward. We can't go back and say we have to refurbish the schools, build the new schools, etc., etc. We cannot grow. Like my brother said earlier, we cannot build schools as fast as our population is increasing.
Okay, we're running out of time, but let me just round off with you. We cannot overemphasize the importance of education. But there are fears at the moment. Can you assure Nigerians that there is actually nothing to worry about in that regard, that students can actually be safe in schools?
Unfortunately, I cannot give that assurance for the simple reason that my job, I'm a security risk management specialist, and I know that the risk is out there. But the good news is this: we can manage the risk. How can we manage the risk? By working together, the 3 levels: community level, the school, and then of course the government. If we work together, then we can manage that risk. Currently we are not doing enough, but we need to do more. And we've got the tools, we've got the ability. He suggested technology. We can incorporate technology into the mix and then manage it. One of the things I'm putting out there is we can develop a checklist that the Ministry of Education can use. So we're offering ourselves really free to the Ministry of Education to help them develop that checklist that schools can adopt to at least increase their safety. Then I can give the assurance.
Okay, very well then. Gentlemen, I'm afraid I wish we had more time to talk, but we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you. I have Ibrahim Duba, an education consultant. Thank you very much for coming on. And of course, Kabir Adamu, a security risk management and intelligence specialist. It was very interesting speaking with you both. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. And that's it. Let's move on now. The ECOWAS Commission has called on the Senegalese authorities to take the necessary measures to ease tensions and guarantee the freedom to demonstrate peacefully in conformity with the laws in force. This followed the violence that occurred in several towns in the country, which led to deaths, injuries and destruction of property. In a communique issued in Abuja, the Commission called on all parties to exercise restraint and remain calm as it is following the situation. The Francophone West African nation report says at least one person has died in the violent protests in Senegal as supporters of the main opposition leader Ousmane Sonko clashed with riot police over a rape accusation that Sonko denies. Let's bring in sports now with Samuel Johnson.
After a season of break due to the coronavirus pandemic, the Higher Institution Football League HIFL 2021 season is back. Stakeholders told journalists in Lagos that the improved football league that has continued to produce talents is set to kick off with the qualifying rounds scheduled for designated centers across the country from the 19th to 23rd of April 2021. Action continues on Sunday in Nigeria's Professional Football League with 10 matches across the country. Wiki Tourist of Bauchi will host Kwara United, while Rivers United will engage Jigawa Stars. At the continental level, Nigeria's Eyimba Football Club of Aba will play against Al-Hali Benghazi. The match, which will be played on Sunday, will be live on Nigerian Television Authority (NTAi). In the English Premier League, results of some of the matches played on Saturday include Sheffield United losing 2-0 at home to Southampton, while Burnley and Arsenal played out a 1-1 draw. The star match for Sunday will see league leaders